Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another session and episode of Coffee Tech Talk. I'm so excited today to welcome a guest by the name of Siloh Moses. And as always, I'm here with my sister, Juliana Carroll, aka Jay. And we are ready to talk to you about Siloh. But let me tell you real quick, this guy, I've known him for a few years now since I've been here in Vegas. And he's won lots of awards. And I'm going to just say a few of them. He's a founder, recognized by the United States Congress and Senate for leadership in philanthropy, compassionate ChangeMaker, consultant for corporations and NGOs, community leader, keynote speaker, and driven by compassion. Does that sum that all up, Siloh?
Pretty much, yeah.
So welcome to our show. We want to talk to you today about work orchestration and automation technology in your businesses. So tell us what all that means. What are you doing right now? What are you working on?
Thank you so much for having me on Coffee Tech Talk. And again, thank you, Jay, and thank you, Lee, and to all your listeners and viewers. So when it comes to myself, I'm kind of a jack of all trades, but all of my trades are in the form of having some kind of people first kind of business where your bottom line and essentially is that profit driven model, but it's the model of putting people first and knowing that people are essentially the important stakeholders in your business to help you get where your business needs to go. So a lot of times when I come in and consult other companies, these are companies that are looking to make a dynamic shift in the way that they market, they message, the way that they lead. Maybe it's a difference or a shift they want to make in their vision, their mission statements, right? The community impact that they want to make. But they also do still want to make a profit. They're just kind of changing to what the narrative is today, where consumers are becoming very smart, and consumers no longer are falling for the old marketing tactics and tricks that I shouldn't say tricks, but some of the ways that businesses did business years ago, right? Mm-hmm. So you're starting to see this now that consumers are voting for certain companies by their dollar, like they're voting with their dollars. Yeah. They're buying organic versus food that's not organic, right? They're buying clothing that makes a social impact versus buying fast fashion. Right. Mm-hmm. So I come in and I help those companies that maybe at one point were fast fashion, but now want to become more of an eco-friendly, social impact fashion-based company. Right.
Yeah. Not tricks. But what captures our attention then is, no longer appropriate for us, right? Because we now have become aware and, of things that impact the earth, the community at large, and, the people around you. So
my opinion, right, is what we're finding is that now consumers are kind of leading that charge. They're leading the conversations that, medium-sized to big businesses, need to start having, especially if they want to stay competitive. And if they want to remain in the market 20 years from now, they're going to have to now follow the consumer. 10 years ago, the businesses led the conversations for consumers. It was buy our product now because it's the best. Buy our product now because, it's cost effective. Buy our product because it works. Today, that conversation isn't the same. The conversation now is being led by the consumers, and the consumers are going, we understand that your product is the best. We understand that it works, but what else does it do?
Right.
What else are you doing? Right. It's almost like the consumers expect that already from businesses. Now they expect those businesses to take a step forward and do something else outside of just having a great product.
Yeah. What else are you promoting, and what are you propagating? What are you facilitating for the good of us, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And one of the things that I come in is I help companies build that foundation. And I start with my three major questions, and this is generally an entire process for a day. When I sit down with CFOs and CMOs, C-level executives, we'll sit down and we'll build out that story, and we'll say, well, one thing we do is we work on who are you. Part 3, last but not least, what we do is we step into a phase where I like to ask them, what makes you different? Yeah. What makes you different out of the 48,000 companies that are publicly traded on the NASDAQ? What is that one thing that makes you different out of 8 billion people in the world?
I think that's the number one thing that I would really agree to is what we need to be able to differentiate ourselves, especially in these days in what's going on in the world. you know, the internet is global, obviously, but it's also very, very saturated. So the competition is fierce, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's now virtually doing Zoom and meetings and conferences, events, and everything you can think of is on the internet. So how do you stand out?
So when it comes to technology, I think obviously one, you want to be in the place, you want to be where the people are at, right? You don't want to be on a technology platform that people are jumping from or people used 5 years ago. You know, one of the biggest challenges is that you need to stay on top of technology so you can stay where your people are moving and migrating to, and where they're currently at. You know, currently everyone's on TikTok, right? Or migrating to TikTok. And what we're starting to see is that the younger demographic that's on TikTok is now jumping off of TikTok and moving away from that. But it's only because TikTok is growing. And as TikTok is growing, the demographics are now changing. At first, TikTok wasn't taken so seriously because the only people who are on TikTok were like 14 and under, and they were making dance videos, right? Now we're starting to see people in their 30s and 40s that are now jumping on TikTok, and they're doing their own thing, like having wine videos, creating wine videos.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen next is you're going to see marketers start jumping on there, and they're going to start selling those wines to those wine video makers who are in their 40s and 30s, right?
Right.
So it's to getting back to technology, you just want to go where the people are at, and you want to be one of the first people there. Now, going back to who are you, what do you stand for, what makes you different, this is going to help your messaging stand out on those kind of platforms. So all this comes back together, right? So if you want to differentiate yourself between that other winemaker that's also on TikTok and joined at the same exact time that you joined and has the same exact wine you have at the same price point, the only way you're going to stand out is through what you believe in, what you stand for, what makes you different.
Yeah, I want to add a little bit to that too, and it's segueing basically to what both of you are saying, right? How do you want to stand out? How do you want to stand out to the people that you want to follow you, right? It's hard to be everything to everyone because then you're nothing to no one, right? You kind of almost have to choose, you know, who you are and who you want to follow you and who you want to sell to, right? So technology can help with that too, I think, because there's a lot of data out there, right? And then you have to kind of wade through it all and see who you are, what you stand for, and where are those people that you want to follow or convert, you know?
Right, exactly. And what we're talking about is stuff that at one point was experimental, because I've done all this on myself and on my own company, right? And I saw the results that I was getting. Other people saw those results from the outside looking in, and they said, how are you doing this? How are you getting these results? How are you doing you had this 5-year plan, you're actually accomplishing all these in 2.5. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And I said, well, this is what I'm doing, and this is the process. And they said, well, can you do it for our company? Can you do it for me as an individual? I said, well, I don't know, but we can try. And, we did it, and we got really exceptional results, and then just kind of, expanded from there. So the reason why, who are you and what do you do and what makes you different out of 8 billion people or 48,000 businesses that are traded on the NASDAQ is so important, is because that's going to relay into everything that you do. It's going to relay into your leadership. It's going to trickle down to your employees. It's going to expand out to your consumer base. It's going to expand out to your vendors. And like what Lee said, when you absolutely know the answer to those 3 questions, everyone starts to gravitate towards you. You don't have to go out and find customers. Those customers find you. And when they find you, they're loyal customers, and they're with you for years and maybe even lifetime and multi-generations, right? So to give you an example, one of the companies that I love as far as them knowing who they are, what they stand for, what makes them different, and how it translates into their marketing and essentially their bottom line and into their loyal customer base is Subaru.
Oh, yeah.
I adore Subaru. Like, I adore them. I just do, because they're just brilliant. Here's the difference between, again, knowing the answer to those 3 questions and not. When you see a traditional car commercial on TV, that car commercial is, this is our new vehicle. Here are all the new features. It's luxurious. It is exclusive, starting at $50K. Stop by a dealership today. But where I was going with that is this. So that's your traditional car commercial on TV. They have 30 seconds to sell you that vehicle, right? And that's traditional messaging, is this is our new model, upgrade now, Here are all the features and benefits starting at 50K. Stop by a dealership today, right? And that's a message that we've heard forever. And for the most part, people today, going back to consumers wanting more from a company outside of just a product that's great for them, they want more than that. So now when we switch over to Subaru's messaging, what does their messaging look like? Subaru is a car commercial that if you watch any of their commercials today, they don't even mention anything about the vehicle. Nothing. They don't tell you what the features are. They don't tell you what the benefits are. They never say this is our new model. They never say stop by a dealership today. They never say starting off at 50K. What is their messaging? Their messaging is love.
Yes.
You watch any of their commercials, it's all love. Love what you do. Love the pursuit of happiness.
Exactly.
It's love for vehicle, love for travel, love for journeys. And who do they have in their commercials? Outdoors people. Their vehicles are always in a mountain scenery somewhere with dog owners. So why does Subaru know their customer base? Well, they know their customer base because they know who they are as a company. They know what they stand for. And if you see a lot of their messaging too, a lot of their messaging is social impact.
Yes.
Right. A lot of their messaging is, you know, carbon. They want to reduce carbon emissions, right? They want to create not only a great car, again, great product, but what are you doing outside of that great product? Yes, you give great service. What are you doing outside of that great service? How is me as a consumer, my hard-earned dollars making an impact in the world by buying your product? I already expect great service. I already expect a great vehicle that I can pass down to my son, daughter, whatever that looks like. I already expect that. But what else are you doing?
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's what that's the differentiator between Subaru and any other car company, is the fact that they know who they are, they know what they stand for, they know what makes them different, and they have a loyal customer base that'll buy their cars forever.
I'll add to that too, right? And is in marketing, you said it exactly. What you're explaining is really the emotion. You know, when you see commercials, some of the best commercials out there, if it hits you emotionally and it hits you right here, you're gonna sell to them. Those are some of the best commercials. And Coca-Cola, they do a really good job, you know, when it comes to targeting everybody. They always, you know, jerk at your heart. It's really all about, you know, being able to touch someone emotionally. And in technology, bringing it back to technology a little bit, it's how do you do that? You know, when you're coming through a screen, you know, we're in that state right now where everything is through a screen. How about you talk about some of that? How do you reach out, you know, to your customers in these days?
Yeah. And so getting back to technology, I think one of the things, and again, I don't mean to keep going here, but it's what it leads back to is knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what makes you different. Because when you know the answers to these questions, it almost comes from within and extends itself out into the world. And then the people who can pick up on that will drive themselves to you. So it's not about me looking for my next customer. My customers find me, right?
Yeah.
But on these platforms, the way that you can stand out, especially digitally, is, again, just the conversation we had right before we started was with this real estate company or the blogger that I'm working with, right? And he wanted to know the exact same thing. How do I stand out on social media? How do I stand out on technology? Granted, I'm a real estate agent, and, you know, there's everywhere you go, you can find a real estate agent pretty quickly. So here's the tips that I gave him. I said, number one, when it comes to technology, what's missing today in the real estate world is, you know, generally when you see a video online of someone showing a house, it's a pristine house, it's super clean. Maybe there's baked cookies on like the counter in the kitchen. It's a video, right? And they're panning the living room, panning the dining room, the kitchen, and in the front yard, backyard. And I go, that's great, but where are the videos where it's the real estate agent who has a sense of humor?
Right.
Where is the videos of the real estate agent who has character? Where's the real estate agent who is in front of the video, or who's hosting the video for this home, going, hey, my name is Cindy. I live in small town Idaho. I'm a dog lover and I enjoy pizza. By the way, if you enjoy pizza, this address, 1432 Randolph, is 4 miles from the best pizzeria here in Idaho. Speaking of this address, let's go ahead and show you the house, right? And then you do the tour, right? And I think that person that's missing, right? That's especially in the real estate world, that kind of personal approach to selling a home is missing.
The connection.
And yeah, the connection, exactly. Yeah. And then of course, when it comes to, that kind of messaging, if we're just using real estate right now as an example, but when you add that personal touch to it, I think that's going to gravitate customers to you versus you pushing that video out on every major technology, media, social media platform and hoping for someone to call you, right? It's like when I do these kind of videos, I'm speaking to one specific person who might be looking for this home, who's moving to Idaho, who also enjoys pizza, who, is looking for a small town feel, right? And a nice home that they can afford. That's who I'm talking to. And
yeah, I agree with that too. So back to the whole knowing who you are and customers coming to you and then speaking through, a screen, you have to be consistent, right?
Yeah.
To be a champion of something and someone, I think.
Yeah. If I'm hearing you correctly too, what you're also saying is that you need to be authentic, you need to be transparent.
Yes, very much so.
And that will show up as consistency in all of your messaging. And that's another way to separate yourself from your competition on technology and on social media platforms, is if your message is authentic, it's transparent, and it's consistent, who's going to argue with that? Right. So, and I think that's too where the consumers come in and they're starting to realize, hey, this company might be showing me commercials on TV and using the words love and showing feelings of joy and companionship. But if they're sourcing that product from a warehouse in China with sweat labor and paying them a wage that's not livable, consumers are like, wait a minute, hold on a second. Now I feel like I'm being lied to.
Yeah.
It's not consistent. It's not transparent. It's not authentic. Your messaging is definitely, I feel like your messaging is lying to me. So you immediately turn me off and I'll never buy your product again. Right.
And we talked about the stages of what you're doing from serving LV to what you're doing now. Why don't you tell us about that right now with the homes?
So I'm very excited.
So if anyone needs to get a hold of you, they have questions, how can they reach you?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can reach me via email if they like to shoot me a quick email. And that email is going to be hello@iheartconcap.com. That's hello, HELLO, at I, and then HEART, and then CONCAP.com. So if you want to just shoot me an email, feel free to. They can always follow me on social media. It's really simple. It's Siloh Moses, pretty much on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and it's SILOHMOSES.
Very nice. So thank you so much for being a part of our podcast today. I've really enjoyed it and wish we could ask you a lot more questions, but then that would be, hours. So with that said, we really appreciate you being here. Thank you for taking the time. And Jay, do you have anything else you want to add to this?
No, I enjoyed the conversation.
So thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to Coffee Tech Talk on YouTube and also follow us on all the Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Coffee Tech Talk. And if you have any questions, you can email us at connect@coffeetechtalk.show. And other than that, until next time.
See ya. Thanks, Siloh.